Okay, when you're doing operations using scientific notation, this is really nice because if we're doing these operations with standard numbers, I'm going to have a 10-digit number times an 8-digit number. That's a lot of multiplication to deal with, right? Well, the reason we do operations with scientific notation is it's much shorter. So what you do is you multiply the decimal portion and then since it's multiplication, we add the exponents on the 10. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3.24 times 4.6. Actually, I'm going to take the x out. Okay. $14.9. Okay. And then for my exponents, I have 9 plus 7. So my answer is 14.9 times 10 to the 16th. Okay. If we have negatives, it's the exact same thing. I do 4.2 times 5.6, and then I'm going to do -3 plus -7. So we get 23.52 and -10. So it's 23.52 times 10 to the -10. And if I have a situation where one's positive and one's negative, doesn't matter, same process. Multiply the decimals. So this is 11.235, so I'm going to round that to 11.24, so I only have 2 decimal places. And then I'm going to add my exponents, and so I get -11. 8 plus -19 is -11. So it's 11.24 times 10 to the -11th. So it doesn't matter whether your exponents are positive or negative, or both. You multiply the decimal part and then add up the exponents. Okay, so you divide the decimal portion, and then the difference between multiplication and division is in multiplication you add the exponents, in division you subtract the exponents. And the way you do that is if it's set up looking like a fraction, it's the top minus the bottom. Or if it's set up as a traditional division problem, it's the first minus the second. So I'm going to do 6.8 divided by 3.2, and then I'm going to do 19 minus 5.
Yeah, you did 6.2.
Oh, thank you. So it's 2.13. And my exponent is 14, so it's times 10 to the 14th. Now, if your exponent on the bottom is negative, you need to be careful. So I do 3.21 divided by 4.89. I'm going to get 0.656, and we're going to deal with that in just a second. We can't have this situation. I'll tell you what.
Just do the same thing as before and put it like.
Well, hold on one second. Let's get the exponent first, and then we'll. So I'm going to do -4 minus -12. because we have to subtract the bottom one. So when we do minus and negative, that becomes positive. So this is 8. Okay. But we can't have this happening. So I have to move my decimal one place over.
Then times 7.
Well, if I've moved one place from a decimal, decimals are negative. So I have to subtract 1 from my exponent. So this is going to be 6.56 times 10 to the 7th. Okay, so if you end up moving your decimal place to the right, you subtract from your exponent. If you end up with a situation where you move the decimal to the left, you add to the exponent. Okay. Example of that would be, what if I had like 26.2 times 10 to the 5th? I would move this, one place, and so I would add 1 to this, and so it would be 2.62 times 10 to the 6th. Okay, and this will happen when you're multiplying and dividing because you end up with numbers that aren't in correct form. You just adjust it. Like this, where you have a bunch of stuff happening. You'll do whatever's on either side of the fraction bar first. So first I'm going to do this multiplication. So I do 2.13 times 4.6. And that's going to be 9.8. Y'all see that? 9.8. And 8 plus negative 3 is 5. Horrible 5. And then I'm going to divide that by 5.6 times 10 to the 4th. I'm going to get 10 to the 1, which is silly. And I can leave it like that if I want, or I can just convert it to standard and it's 17.5. Okay. So if you have a fraction with more than one operation happening, remember this is division, not a fraction. So you'll do any multiplication on either side and then do the division.